it's hard to explain. Like, there's a large presence of Black people here, and I personally would say Charlotte's a Black city, personally. But also, there's a lot of other cultures here as well, and the transition of Charlotte over the past, I don't know, 12 years is different.
How
So,
is it being a native New Yorker being in Charlotte? I've actually been seeing like, is Charlotte on its way to being like, well, maybe I can't say number two, because I guess DMV area would be number two. Would Charlotte be like Atlanta and DMV number three? Like the way that I see like a lot of black people out there, and I see like they're moving companies and a whole bunch of things out there. Like, what do you think about that?
I would say, I feel like Houston would come before Charlotte in that way for
Well,
sure.
let me clarify on that, because Houston is cool culturally wise and stuff like that, but when it comes to tech jobs, they aren't. They're they're still behind Dallas and Austin, even when in Texas. So I was referring to like,
Yeah.
I've been seeing like a lot of different tech jobs, stuff like that, going to Charlotte, and that's what I was referring to. I've seen Atlanta, and I know DMV, and then I threw it in the mix with like a lot of black people being in the area, doing well for themselves. So that's why I asked
Yeah,
that question.
that's what you meant.
Maybe that helps a little more.
So for Charlotte, it's kind of like two separate things, because a city where you're seeing like an influx of Black people doing well off, I'm not going to say Charlotte is like the top city. Is it rising? Yes, but there's also an influx of people who are non-Black in this city that are doing probably better than most of the Black people that are here, because it's a lot of Charlotte natives. So people are actually being pushed out. I live in an area called Uptown Charlotte. It's really downtown. I don't know why it's called Uptown, but
We,
I just live
we
here.
can tell you live in the
Um,
uptown area. You know what I'm saying? We can tell you're uptown
oh, you
stunner.
see the window.
We saw. I saw the view earlier before it got dark. I saw the view.
Oh yeah, I love my baby here. I came back intentionally. But as far as tech, a lot of people don't know that Charlotte is actually number 7 on top tech cities when it comes to the top 50. Yes, Charlotte is number 7. And reason being, you have Charlotte has been a financial banking kind of city for years, right? You have all of these banks, all these financial institutions transitioning into what we consider fintech. So automatically, because you have this large presence of the banking industry and the financial industry here pivoting into tech, it's already going to create a boom there, right? That's one. Two, people don't know is like Robinhood. I don't know if they have a solid location in Charlotte yet, but they have employees in Charlotte. Like Robinhood has employees in Charlotte, and they're going to build an office if they don't already have an office space. Trying to think of Credit Karma has had a presence in Charlotte. They have a presence in San Francisco and they have a presence in Charlotte. They've increased their presence in Charlotte. I never remember them putting out an article about having 600 more jobs and putting about 30 million more dollars into the city. Um, Moving back to like the fintech side, Lending Tree. Lending Tree is building a building in Charlotte. It's like 10 minutes away from where I live. You have Regions Bank, which is building a location here. Deloitte already has a building here. Ally Financial, Ally Bank, they were kind of they had an uptown location they were leasing, and then they had like a South Charlotte location. They've now centralized that everything into uptown Charlotte. You already have Bank of America here. You already have Wells Fargo here. You have a US Bank location. You have LPL Financial. You have TIAA. Truist, which is the result of the merger of SunTrust and BB&T. They have a building up here as well. And then, of course, you still have Duke Energy. Like Duke Energy has run Charlotte, like North Carolina, for a while. So you still have them here too. Um, Microsoft has a location in Charlotte that a lot of people are very unaware of, and I actually saw it by accident. Um, so you have a lot of different businesses here, and what I said I think may happen. Of course, this may not be true, but this is what I believe. You have an influx of the big techs that have moved to Atlanta. You have Microsoft has that office there. You have Google that has that office there. Amazon has a small office there, and more than likely, I'm sure they'll be growing it. But then you see Microsoft has an office in Charlotte. So what I'm thinking is that the rest are going to follow suit. Google is eventually going to end up having a location in Charlotte. Amazon already has like WeWork spaces in Charlotte. I'm sure they're going to expand their presence as far as the corporate side here, and you're going to have these multiple different companies competing because they want to increase. I mean, we know they went to Atlanta to increase their black talent because not everybody wants to move to Seattle, not everybody wants to move to the West Coast. So like, okay, let's go where they're at. There is a presence, there is a black presence in Charlotte. Like, let's not pretend like there's not, because it's definitely exists. Charlotte is, I don't want to, it's hard to explain. Like, there's a large presence of black people here, and I personally would say Charlotte's a black city personally, but also there's a lot of other cultures here as well. And the transition of Charlotte over the past, I don't know, 12 years is different. So I actually went to Johnson C. Smith University, which is about 10 minutes away from here in Charlotte. So coming back to Charlotte for me, it's not like, oh, this is a new place I've never been before. No, I spent a pivotal time of like my young adulthood in Charlotte, like in college. So for me, it was like, I want to come back to this city now, you know, towards my late 20s, really get to experience it from a different lens, from a different view, be able to build some businesses out here, make some impact, do some work. But I will say the city has changed a lot. This is not the same city that I went to school in. This building didn't even exist. Half of the apartments uptown were parking lots. So yeah.
That's dope. I mean, I'm from I have some family that moved from Shreveport to Charlotte. They always talk about like I still haven't
Oh,
had a chance to visit Charlotte yet. I plan to because I like I said I like what's going on because even though I love the DFW area, unless I move to somewhere like DeSoto, I want to probably have my home in a well-to-do area where Black people stay, and I think that's important to
yeah,
me because I got daughters, and I want them when they walk outside to see people that like their daddy and their mom doing well, you know. And nothing wrong with staying
yeah,
in the other communities. Nothing is wrong with that either because those houses are nice, cool. I mean, you still could say, "Oh, we got a nice house," but to me, it's nothing like that because I did years ago did research about like how when we all stay together in nice areas and keep it up, like we keep our property value good, opposed to which is possibly I don't know if it's changed or not, but it used to be when we would move into areas that we were the minority, we actually would bring the property value down. So I have to review that stat. I haven't reviewed it in some years, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I like it. And I feel like my city, it used to be like it's pretty much but half black now, my hometown, and they lost like a lot of
mm,
jobs, and they can't compete right now. Most of us come to Texas just because it's nothing to no jobs for the graduates or anything like that, unless you want to be like a nurse or a fireman, a policeman, or maybe you do some oil work. Other than that, no, not a lot of white collar
mm,
jobs. But if they can follow suit of like a Atlanta or like a Charlotte or something like that, and just really get they got like a Amazon fulfillment center coming, so maybe that if they do decent with that, maybe that attract some more companies, and maybe they can build off that. But it's got to be a 10 to 15 year process, like you said, like 12 years, in order for them to get back to the prominence they was like in the early '80s.